Hmm. 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 Well, looks like Liverpool are actually interested about Christian Pulisic. Let's talk about this.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of videos ago, if you guys remember, I said that Jurgen Klopp, well, not that I said, but there was talks in social media that Jurgen Klopp is interested or he likes Christian Pulisic, and there could be something brewing there. In the last 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen, this is from Christian Falk, the German stallion, the center of all German news. Look, some of the stuff that he says, I don't take it seriously, especially when he does this true with the tick mark. Look, he's posted some controversial stuff in the past, but I must say that when it comes to sort of German connection, German news, Jurgen Klopp being German, obviously, he may have some information. Not all of it is true. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. But this is what it's saying at the moment. True, Liverpool FC is interested in Christian Pulisic, 23, as replacement for Sadio Mané. Now, this is how it's all transpired. Liverpool seemingly looks like are going to part ways with Sadio Mané, or Sadio Mané is going to part ways with Liverpool. And of course, Liverpool's going to be in the market, in the lookout for a winger. And in comes Christian Pulisic. How do I feel about this situation, ladies and gentlemen? Look, I'm not entirely fussed. Either he stays or he goes. There's downside, there's upside. If he stays, fine. We get to see, we give him one more chance. We've had him for 3 seasons, and literally all injuries and the absenteeisms that he's had, it's probably taken one season out of the 3 seasons that we've seen him. And in this entire 3 seasons, we've only seen snippets of his talent. More specifically, where he's been the best is probably Project Restart under Frank Lampard's first season. And then since then, there's been bits and pieces where he's been very good, and then there's been bits and pieces where he's been inconsistent. And then through all of that, there's been injuries. So, look, I'm at a situation where he's got 2 more seasons left with Chelsea Football Club. It's the right time to sell if we are to sell, but if we keep him and just to see what he does in the coming season, fair enough. But if he doesn't bang, for example, then we're in the mud with 1 more year remaining. We're not going to get as much as money. He's probably more marketable at the moment. But if he does bang, what does the player do? We probably look at a player contract extension. Player then might get excited that, hey, my stocks are high now. I want XYZ income. And it may be the Salah situation at the moment where Salah doesn't want to sign a contract extension. And Pulisic might think, well, I'm not going to sign a contract extension either. I'm going to just see it out for free. And then hopefully he remains consistent and he'll get himself a very, very good club after. So we're in a strange predicament in this scenario. So as I said, there's upside of keeping him, downside of keeping him as well. I'm not fussed. I'm okay if he wants to stay for another season. We check things out and hopefully it works out. But then what happens after? But nonetheless, how do I feel about him moving to Liverpool? One of the biggest complaints from Christian Pulisic is that he's not getting regular game time at Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. His father has made it vocal as well in social media in recent times with a tweet saying big, important 6 months coming into play for Christian Pulisic. Obviously, the World Cup just around the corner. All of these players, they want game time with World Cup, not that long away. Him going to Liverpool, let's just say, if this is true and if this does happen, I don't know how he's going to get regular game time at Liverpool. For me, if Mane leaves, Salah is still starting. Luis Diaz is definitely starting. Diego Jota is definitely ahead of Christian Pulisic. So how does Christian Pulisic get regular minutes ahead of those players? Yeah, there'll be rotations. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't think Liverpool does that much rotation up front. They believe in the front three, and they generally play them on a regular basis. So he has to really do his level best to crack into it. And has he shown enough to crack into that three? Diego Jota is a very good player. Luis Diaz, we've seen what he can do. Can he crack into it? And that's the thing. And their front three is all about production. Has Pulisic shown production throughout Chelsea? it's been very inconsistent. For me, I'm worried. He has to be very careful about his destination. He doesn't want to be the next Oxlade-Chamberlain over there. That's all I'm going to say. But let's go ahead and have a look at some more stuff in regards to this particular news. Jurgen Klopp on Pulisic. This was a while ago. Obviously, this is an article from Fan Nation, but this comment was a while ago. Jurgen Klopp was, was the one, I think, that brought in Christian Pulisic to Borussia Dortmund, or had connection with him in Borussia Dortmund. Of course, as you can see the picture over here, Jurgen Klopp and Pulisic. At the moment, he has a contract with Dortmund. He's still pretty young and he's at the perfect place for his development. But if he ever wants to come to England, he's more than welcome. This is obviously when Pulisic was in Dortmund. And prior to coming to Chelsea, there was rumours that a possible move to Liverpool could transpire. So Jurgen Klopp is a fan, as I said in my recent video. Here's a bit of a notation from TalkSport. Pulisic is another player Jurgen Klopp is interested in signing, German publication Bild reports. It was widely reported Liverpool tried to sign the American before he joined Chelsea. However, the move didn't happen as Klopp was unable to provide Pulisic with first-team assurance. So I think this will still be an issue, being able to provide first-team assurance. And if that's what Pulisic is looking for, I'm not entirely sure he's going to get that. There's something interesting that I read up, and maybe something we might touch on in a different video, but I just want to give you guys a quick snippet on TalkSport. There have been suggestions Liverpool could be interested in Pulisic's former Chelsea teammate, Tammy Abraham, who has heard telling Trent Alexander-Arnold, "I'm joining you next season," while training with England. It'll be interesting to see if Tammy Abraham ever cracks it into Liverpool. That would be a massive move for him. Let's see what happens. Looks like things are looking up for Tammy Abraham. Now, a little bit of information from Grizz Khan, as you guys know, big Liverpool fan, and has a excellent YouTube channel out there. Go and follow him as well. But this is what Grizz Khan had to say. Pulisic's ship has sailed, in my opinion, not near robust or profile enough for a wide berth in our team. Sometimes you can get lucky, and we did when he chose Chelsea ahead of us. At the time, I was a massive fan of his potential. I get Tuchel attackers tax, but still hasn't done enough. Look, I'm going to let it slide, the whole Tuchel attacker tax. That's for a different show. But yeah, Christian Pulisic, he's not as robust as he once used to be. The injuries have hampered him, and we've seen it in recent times. It's not like he's got blistering pace, how he's just running past defenders. Yeah, he's still a solid player. Yeah, he's got good movement, but we've seen the level of not finishing that he's had in recent times, whether it's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, against Leicester recently as well. There is a good player in him, but consistency is very much required. Let me know how you guys feel. Would you sell Christian Pulisic to Liverpool, or do you want to keep him for another season, or perhaps even give him a contract extension? Okay, let's go to the next news, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea have open communication with Ousmane Dembele's camp through unofficial channels. There's nothing agreed yet, but Thomas Tuchel really wants Dembele. Look, as I said, I find this quite funny. CFC Daily then replied saying, "Thought the contract was signed already." They're having a dig at Grimes. And this is what I said, ladies and gentlemen. PYS, Queen Auntie Grimes is the best. What do you mean? Obviously, these boys are having a bit of fun. And this is the thing, Grimes obviously recently came out and then said that it's all done and dusted. I did a video on that because I definitely want Dembele to come in, and I was basically building up the hype. But I do understand I don't think anything is signed and delivered as yet. I don't think the deal is done yet. It is likely to happen. It seems like we are the best suitor, the biggest suitor out there at the moment for Dembele. Barcelona in the mud financially. PSG has ruled themselves out. So all things point that Dembele is probably going to be making the Chelsea selection. So watch this space as it transpires. Hopefully next week we get some solid information that there is a signature happening. Okay, let's move on to the next part on this particular news. Ousmane Dembele is Chelsea is not a done deal. To jump to that conclusion is wrong and clickbaity. However, Chelsea are confident due to PSG's interest cooling. There will be more next week. Ben Jacobs, who's done a fantastic job when it came to Chelsea ownership, has said this as well, and is been quite accurate about a lot of things. So I take him quite seriously. Simon Phillips as well, with a tick mark with Ben Jacobs. This is what he said about the whole situation. Let me see if I can bring it up. So Ben Jacobs, I'm unavailable on a free transfer. Look at him, that video. Nice work, Ben Jacobs. And then Tuchel said Dembele to Chelsea, and this is what Ben Jacobs had to say. There is a certain growing confidence, especially with the PSG bringing in Campos, who isn't as intent on signing him as Leonardo. Chelsea have made contact, want to watch next week. So yeah, Luis Campos is looking like going to be the director of football for PSG, and he's not keen on Dembele. So watch this space. Of course, I think the Dembele situation is very likely, and I hope we get this player. We all know why. We've said it in previous video. It's now just about executing the situation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next up, Inter have been offered a chance to sign Chelsea's Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The club value him at 20 million euros, which is too much for the Nerazzurri's. Nerazzurri. I always stuff this up. Nerazzurri. But the situation is said to be evolving via Gazzetta. Look, recently we did a stream, and I think a lot of you guys have said maybe it's time to part ways. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, how was his season? The one that just finished? Probably a very average one. He didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't do anything bad either. There were a couple of games where he was disappointing. There were a few games where he was okay as well. Obviously, that goal against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup semi-final, that sticks out, but there's been very, very bad performances too. It was a bit of a revelation how he was playing in the right wing-back, but more as a right mid. In this season, he pretty much played many different positions. There was a point where he played even centre-back in, I think, one of the Carabao Cup matches or early FA Cup matches. And we've used him as sort of like a utility player. But I know there's a need for such players. I get that. Liverpool probably has in the likes of Milner. But I'd rather bring in a particular player that's actually going to be used properly, for our needs. Let's say, for example, if it's midfield, we need a DM. Let's give those minutes to, if we replace Jorginho, that is. Even if we don't, let's bring in like a Ethan Ampadu to be a backup, as opposed to having Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who I don't know how he makes it into that midfield. Kovacic is going to tie one of the midfield position down. If we go to a three-man midfield, Mason Mount's probably going to be a midfielder. Conor Gallagher's there as well. Kante. Unless we are selling Jorginho and Kante, then okay, fine. You could think about keeping someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a backup. But if there's 20 million euros in offer, in my opinion, I say let's take it and let's try and improve elsewhere, because I feel like we have players that can do the job in midfield. And is it worthwhile for Ruben Loftus-Cheek to get those odd minutes here and there whenever there's injuries to come in? We need more. We need more from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We don't just need bit parts minutes here and there. We need goals, we need assists, we need production. So, look, for me, I'm okay for this player to move on. Man, I miss those days, the Sarri days, him and Hazard. I really thought this guy was going to be one of the biggest assets in world football in terms of from a midfield point of view, and how it's gone sort of south since then with the injury and whatnot. It just simply didn't work out. But let me know, ladies and gentlemen, how you feel about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Do you part ways? Do you keep him? Do you cash in on that 20 million? Let me know. Finally, I want to talk about this. The reason why I brought Ethan Ampadu in previously in that note for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, it's because of this. Congratulations to Ethan Ampadu, who will be going to 2022 World Cup with Wales. Wales just beaten Ukraine for the final spot for the World Cup. And this is a massive testament to Ethan Ampadu. I know there are other players that go to World Cup that probably are not deserving of playing in top flight football in Europe, but Ethan Ampadu, I mean, how much more do we need to see this particular player? He had a very, I said, decent loan spell at Venezia. He was one of their most important players. Yeah, they got relegated. I get that, but he's developed. He's learned a lot, and I feel like now he's done his dues. He's gone to many different loans, and it's a player we can definitely use as the deepest midfielder in that register position. He's got that ball playing ability. He's not shy, does not shy away from getting the ball first up, has good vision, knows where to send the pass before the ball gets to him. He would fit Thomas Tuchel's ideology, no doubt about that. I feel really sad about Ethan Ampadu that he's just not been able to crack it into Chelsea. I hope this pre-season he gives it a good go, and hopefully we get to see a bit of Ethan Ampadu in the team. I even advocated for him last season instead of Saul, and we saw how the Saul situation ended up. But yeah, let me know, ladies and gentlemen, about all of these news. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you have. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. We are now running wild towards 13,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for all the support. I want to hear from each and every one of you guys about everything we've talked about today, especially the Christian Pulisic news, which is making the rounds right now. So yeah, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, see ya.